Okay. So for our core values, we have integrity, compassion, resilience, innovation, and patriotism. Guys, I'm very particular of integrity. So dapat kayo as students, you should know this one. So that dapat you're being honest every time, especially if we have assignments, if we have quizzes, or any kind of activity. Siguro I'll be sharing with you my past experiences, no, about this integrity. I noticed kasi to my previous students that whenever I give assignments, siguro akala nung iba I'm not checking the assignments that I'm giving. What they're doing is that they will copy everything from their classmates, as in the same thing, the same content of the assignment, they will just copy paste it. So ako every time na that I'll be checking an assignment, binabasa ko yan talaga, just to let you know. So may isa pang student doon, ang ginawa niya is she just copy pasted everything from Google and then submitted it to me. So I noticed it and then pinagsabihan ko siya. I gave her a warning about that kind of stuff that she did. So please don't do that. So every time that I'm checking an assignment, I make sure na chine-check ko yan isa-isa. Na nagbabasa ako ng assignment, hindi yung basta gradean ko lang. So please don't copy assignments or any activities that I am giving with you guys. Pag nahuli ko kayo, I'll be giving you a 0 remark in your assignment or whatever activity it is. So please be mindful of that. Okay, so next we also have compassion, resilience, innovation, and patriotism. And ako naman when giving assignments or any kind of activity, hindi naman ako yung super strict na I'm very considerate about the deadline. If hindi talaga siya kaya, I try to adjust the deadline. So given that, so sana give and take tayo, no? So hindi dapat yung I adjusted the deadline already and then hindi ka pa nakapag-submit or you haven't complied to the requirement. So once na wala akong ma-receive any assignment or any requirement, I'll be giving you a 0 remark unless you tell me that you cannot submit or you have a valid reason why you cannot submit. Okay. So for the college mission, we are a business school providing quality management and accountancy education to students to equip them with the skills, knowledge, and work ethics that they need to become productive and competent members of the national and global workforce. So our faculty will be academically prepared, committed, and innovative. We will have close linkages with industry and practitioners to be able to apply the latest educational methods and technology. And college vision to be one of the top 10 business schools in the country, producing graduates that will excel in their chosen careers in profession, practice, industry, and government who will be responsible citizens and members of the community. Okay, so for the flexible learning experience guidelines, so syempre given the pandemic situation, no, we are at a home-based learning right now, which is a combination of 50% real-time synchronous and 50% not real-time remote learning asynchronous. So our class is every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 11. So our first 2 hours will be a synchronous session from 7 to 9 a.m. and then asynchronous the rest of the time. Every time that we will be having the synchronous session, I'll be expecting full attendance from the class. And if hindi kayo maka-attend ng class, please let me know in advance. So every time, please check your MS Teams, the class materials. Sometimes I'm posting the PowerPoint presentations that I'll be discussing during the synchronous session. So please make it a point to check your class materials. And this MS Teams, I'll also be using this one if we have assignments or quiz announcements or exams. So please check the MS Teams chat box. Okay, so yun nga, our classes will have synchronous meeting, half of the total class hours duration, and half of it is asynchronous. Okay, so I guess you already know this one. For synchronous, this is real time. Live streaming lectures, live webinars, live chatting, or video conferencing. So for the asynchronous session naman, I'll be giving you activities, advanced readings, I'll post notes, or anything that can be done offline. Or this can also be a good time to consult with me if you have any clarifications or if you have any inquiries. Just let me know through the chat, through our MS Teams chat. Okay, so please check your certificate of registration. Are you really part of this class? Baka pala i-added you, tas hindi pala kayo part ng class. So please let me know, baka meron pala ditong naligaw. But I also checked the list of my class list if everyone is really a part of this class. And sit-ins are not allowed, and English only policy. Okay, so for the house rules for synchronous classes, please be in MS Teams classroom at least 10 minutes before the scheduled class to access stable internet connection. And then if you'll be late, please advise me then ahead of time so that alam ko when to start the classes. Kasi at times, I allot extra time just to wait for the student so that everyone can catch up pa din. So, para hindi ma-miss nung iba yung mga lessons or anything or important announcements. So, please be or join the MS Teams classroom at least 10 minutes before the scheduled class. And then, the right etiquette siguro, no? You should find a quiet place conducive for learning and turn off or put into silent mode your cell phones, TV, or radio. I understand the struggle kasi napakaaga ng class natin. It's 7 a.m. So please, baka yung iba sa inyo, just listening the MS Teams audio and then nakahiga pa or doing something, please don't do that. Better if nakaupo kayo and then your laptop is in the table para at least yung knowledge na binibigay sa inyo ng professor nyo is na-absorb nyo. Kasi parang if nakahiga kayo or something, parang hindi nyo siya mag-grasp anything that is yung being told you by the professor. Okay. Next is wear smart casual attire. Sleeveless and sandals are not allowed. So please, yes, alam ko naman na nasa bahay tayo lahat, but please wear a proper attire when attending classes. And then you should be seated for the duration of the meeting. So for urgent matters during the class, use the chat box to inform your instructor and wait for his or her approval. You may also raise your hand if it takes time to answer. So if you have any questions, please use the hand raise icon in this MS Teams app to be recognized. Then use headphones or earphones during the class. Mute the microphone when you are not speaking. Then if you have any questions, click the hand raise button. Or you may also use the chat box. So your attendance will be monitored every session. So you utilize the chat box regularly for messages like when you cannot see or hear what is being discussed. Then students should leave the meeting room immediately after the class to be early for the next schedule. So the instructor will be the last one to leave. Show respect to your faculty. Address them as Dr., Prof, or Miss, or Mr. And not just with the faculty, show respect as well with your classmates. And observe courtesy at all times. Attendance, so students are encouraged to attend the synchronous classes regularly and promptly. Hindi yung sa asynchronous lang kayo active. Dapat every time you're attending the synchronous classes because I'm taking down your attendance. Then if you cannot attend the class, inform me ahead of time for any reasons. Ako medyo maluwag naman ako sa attendance as long as your reason is valid. So please inform me ahead of time if you cannot attend my class. A student must be responsible for what transpired if he or she misses a class by checking the MS Teams group. A student may contact another classmate or his professor to find out what he or she missed in the class. Okay, for asynchronous classes naman, house rules, you're expected to read, review, or answer the materials made available for you in MS Teams with deadline for submission. So please check your MS Teams regularly because I'll be posting updates about the subject, or I might post assignments or quiz announcements. Hindi yung sasabihin nyo na hindi nyo alam na may quiz pala, but I actually posted it in the MS Teams chat. Okay, so I'll be online to answer all your queries pertaining to the subject or course during your class schedule. So it's also a good time to consult with me if you have any concerns during our asynchronous session or asynchronous classes. And by the way, I'm a part-time professor in NU, and baka there are times that I cannot answer you agad in MS Teams. So I'm active most of the time siguro when we will be having the asynchronous classes. So please understand if hindi ako maka-reply agad, especially during the weekdays. But as much as possible, I will do my best to reply with your inquiries. Nag-online naman ako from time to time. Okay, for the discipline naman, you're already second year students, no? I know you already know this one. So please observe the usual norms of etiquette, politeness, and courtesy to your professors, to the NU administrators, and other staff. And students should be quiet and observe proper decorum while classes or student activities are ongoing. And students must participate in all classroom activities as determined by the subject professor. And students exhibiting dysfunctional or poor behavior will be referred to the discipline office. So please respect one another. By the way, class, in all classroom activities or siguro specifically no with the synchronous session, every time I'm giving the discussion, nagtatawag ako ng names for the recitation. I always give recitation. Siguro every synchronous class meron, so I expect your active participation during the discussion. Kasi minsan nagtatawag ako, lalo na yung mga students na hindi masyadong participative in my class. So, yon, just an heads up para at least medyo aware na kayo of what to expect from me. So, academic honesty and integrity. Eto medyo sensitive talaga ako as I mentioned a while ago about integrity. Cheating is a big no for me. So, once I caught you cheating, I'll give you a 0 remark in your grade. So I'm strict. Ako as much as possible, maluwag ako in giving assignments, in giving quizzes. Pero wag lang yung tipo na mag-cheat kayo. So it's a big no for me, or you will be copying assignment of you will be copying everything from your classmate. So please don't do that. Kahit na yes, we are in this online setup. So kahit na dapat hindi kayo nakikita ng professor nyo, please practice honesty. So yes, next. So plagiarism, please also take note about the assignments or projects that you have researched. Siguro kung meron kayo nakita online about a certain topic, please acknowledge the author. So just write the author's name and the year that it has been created para medyo maiwasan natin yung hindi pag-acknowledge dun sa author na yun. So all materials uploaded in your class teams are for exclusive use of National University students only. Please don't share it with other students. Uploading of class materials, posting of photos of these materials, including but not limited to test questions, test results, and the like are also not allowed. Unauthorized copying, alteration, distribution, transmission, display, or other use of course materials is prohibited. So yung mga class materials nyo pala, I posted it in our files under MS Teams class materials. Please check it for course or syllabus 1 and 2. I already uploaded it. Then sending an email. So please be mindful when sending an email, especially to your professor or to your advisor, to your program chair. Please follow the right format. So for example, please indicate the subject, kung ano mang concern yon, if it's grades, request for credit, substitution request. Then wait for 2 to 3 days since there are also other students with inquiries. Then follow up on the 4th day using the same email thread by clicking forward or the upper right corner of the email. Then do not just send an attachment, indicate your purpose or your request. Okay, start with the salutation, greeting, introduce yourself, which section or which subject, then state the reason or purpose of your email. Put a closing remarks, then state your name and indicate your student number. Class performance, I think you already know this one. We are a zero-based grading system. So policy on NU grading system will be in effect. Students may drop, add, or change any subjects within the prescribed period. Results of assessment activities will be provided or asked by your professor. Then students will be given their grades every grading period. Students will be updated. Hello? Can you still hear me?
Yes po,
Yes po,
miss.
miss.
Okay,
Opo.
parang I think nawala ako sa line. Okay. 15% will be assignments, seat works, 25% prelims or pre-final, then 30% will be in interim or final examination. So as for me, since mahilig akong magpa-recitation, sometimes I consider your recitation as a quiz. Okay, so for the frequently asked questions, so what is a grade consultation? So I think you already know this one. If you have any concerns about your grade, so you can always ask your professor. Then, can the professor encode the grades in the NUIS before the consultation? Yes. The university has set deadlines for encoding of grades in the system. So, siguro if you have any questions, right, siguro after the finals or after a week of finals, chat your professor about your grade or follow up before the professor will be encoding your grade into the system. So that if you have clarifications, the professor can answer it at least before encoding it to the system. But if I do not agree with the grades, you may courteously ask the professor to review the grade computation for the following reasons. Inconsistent scores encoded in the class record versus scores posted in Teams, unrecorded scores, unchecked requirements within the submission period. Um, siguro if ma-encounter niyo yung ganitong klaseng scenario, ako naman as a professor, I make sure that every requirement that I posted, especially in the assignments, kinigradean ko siya every time that I return the assignments to you. And siguro some of the quizzes, I also consider it, yun nga, yung recitation, I also consider it as your quiz. Siguro you know naman kung sino yung, alam nyo sa sarili nyo if you're participating in my class or you're not actively participating. So, medyo particular din kasi talaga ako when during recitation. So, at times, I also consider that as your quiz. So I don't worry about that. I'll be announcing naman if that recitation is considered as a quiz. Can I request to have a higher grade because I'm a scholar? Grades are earned, so they are not based on your performance in the class. So kung hindi ka naman performing sa class, what will you expect, 'di ba? So if you want a higher grade, so please make sure that you're performing well in the class. So if you're a scholar, you need to study and perform better. So can I still submit the requirements or change them after the grade consultation? So the professor gives enough time for students to submit the requirements. So ako as much as possible, I'm giving you the parang I'm giving you an allowance time just to complete the specific requirements. So I'm medyo maluwag naman ako when giving deadlines. So please comply lang din siguro with the deadline submission that was set. So if any reason you failed to submit on the deadline despite of extension, you may courteously request the professor if he or she can still accept it. Then gentle reminders for seminars or webinars. Students are required to present certificate of attendance at least 10 webinars prior to internship. Profile picture in MS Teams. So please make sure that your photos in MS Teams are business-like. So hindi pwede yung picture nyo with your girlfriend or with your boyfriend or with your pet. Please make sure that you are wearing a business attire or basta medyo presentable naman. University and college logo shall be used for academic purposes only and for personal or any other reason. So please, every time that we will be having our synchronous session, and if I call your name or I ask you to open your camera, please use the College of Business and Accountancy MS Teams background, the one that I'm using right now. I think dalawa to, so you can also use the other background just to make it formal. Here, the backdrop, you may use this one. Do you have a copy of this? Hello? If not, if wala kayo, I'll be uploading this one to our class materials. Kasi parang kanina, nung nag-open cam kayo, most of you are not using this backdrop, official CBA backdrop. Can you still hear me?
Yes po, Miss.
Okay. So next time, please use this one. So once I called your name, if you will open your cam, at least you have a nice background. So these are just important reminders. So please do the online teachers evaluation during the midterm and final period. So failure to do so will give you the chance to see your online grades, will not give you the chance rather to see your online grades in your NUIS portal. So pre-register once announced so you can reserve your slot for your preferred schedules and section. Failure to do so will not give you a chance to see your online grades in the portal. And please remind your parents or guardians to pay on or before the due date of your tuition fees to avoid accumulation of higher balance. So if you have any concerns, please email your program coordinator or please email your advisor, program chair. So here are the email addresses. Okay. So with that, do you have any questions?
None po, Miss.
Parang this is more of a refresher lang sa knowledge nyo. I'm sure that your other professors have discussed this already, no? Okay, so before we start, siguro I'll be presenting you the course syllabus. For human behavior. Give me a moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes po, Miss.
Okay, so for human behavior, for its course description, to some of you hindi alam kung ano what the subject is all about. So basically, it is understanding people in the workplace. So for the term itself, human behavior, it's understanding people in the workplace. So it introduces the students to the factors that affects the behavior of individuals or any groups in the organization, focusing on specific factors that tend to explain the behavior of the individuals, groups, and the organization. So there will also be various theories or models of organization behavior that will be explained, work group behavior, motivation in life and in work, and human relations, among others, as discussed and related to the organizational practices and phenomena. So why is it important? Bakit ba important ang human behavior in the organization? So kayo as college students, um, we are preparing you once you have graduated from NU, kasi syempre you will be working you will be working with industries. So it's good if aware na kayo ngayon pa lang about what are these behavior that affects individuals in an organization. Kasi soon you will also be joining an organization, you will also be joining a company. So you know what to expect, you know how to behave, you know how to interact with people in the organization. You will basically know the background of what an organization is all about. So I think this is also an important subject for you. So at the end of the course, so the students must be able to identify concepts, theories, or models or practices about human behavior, group of individuals, organization. So you will also recognize what are these factors that can affect individuals' personal development in the organization. So assemble the context of which the use of resources and the various forces affect the organization movements in the work environment. Because at times there are changes in the organization, then um, what are the effects of those changes in the organization, how will it impact the organization either positively or negatively, then what are the challenges and opportunities in applying these organizational behavior concepts, then demonstrate and apply skills in problem solving and decision making, and evaluate org behavior with its principles, performance of a team, or as a team leader or as a group member. Then analyze behavior and other concepts of organizational effectiveness. So this is a 3-unit subject. So 4 hours yung session natin, 2 hours of it will be synchronous, 2 hours asynchronous. Okay, so for the topics or learning outcomes, so for the first week, we will be discussing about organizational behavior. So siguro after this one, I'll be giving you what an organization behavior is all about. Then for the rest of the time, I'll be giving you an activity for our asynchronous session. For the next week naman, we will be discussing the essence of patriotism, compassion, integrity, and relate it to the diversity in the organizations. We'll be discussing about the dynamics of the diversity, discrimination, biographical characteristics, ability, attitudes. Then next is to discuss then about emotions and moods. Next, personality and values, perception and individual decision making. So for every synchronous discussion, either I'll be announcing naman if I'll be giving you an activity, a group work, or or assignment or quizzes, so I'll announce it ahead of time. So you don't have to worry about that, except for sometimes I give a surprise quiz, but that surprise quiz is more of ano naman, of a recitation naman. So we will also be having a case group presentation for this term. I'll be announcing other details naman. Then next, motivation and concepts and applications. Then group foundations of group behavior. Then understanding work teams. Communication, power and politics in the organization, conflict and negotiation. Then organizational culture. Organizational change and stress management. That's for week 12. Then your final exam. Okay, so do you have any questions before I proceed to the first module?
Wala na po, Miss.
Okay, thank you. Natutulog na ba kayo? Kindly open your camera. Please open your cam so I can see you before we start. Okay. $27 na tayo sa attendance list. So, sino yung dalawa na wala kanina? Please raise your hand. May hindi ako natawag kanina eh. Si Lago, Ella May, and Atyova Mary Ann. Okay. I extracted again the attendance list. So if you will be late in my class, please inform me ahead of time. Okay. Sige, you may now turn off your cam. Thank you. Okay, for our first module for human behavior in the organization, siguro this is more of an introduction of what an organizational behavior is all about. But before that, syempre, I wanted to understand your level of understanding about what an organizational behavior is all about. Kasi so that I would know your level of understanding about the organizational behavior before I proceed to the discussion proper. So I know what to expect. I know kung nasaan kayo, yung level of understanding nyo before giving into so much details kasi I don't want to overwhelm you with this with the information. I just wanted to understand your level muna kung nasaan kayo. Okay. So siguro share ko muna yung screen ko . Can you see my screen?
Yes po,
Yes
Miss.
po, Miss.
Wait, parang hindi siya nag-ano sa akin, naglo-load. Okay. So, can you now see it again? Sorry.
Yes po.
Okay. So before we start, I wanted to understand your level of kung ano yung understanding niyo muna about organizational behavior. Okay. So, what is organizational behavior for you? Can you please raise your hand or unmute yourself to be acknowledged? You can unmute yourself. Hindi ko kasi nakikita yung naka-raise yung hand.
Hello po, Miss.
Who's this pala? What's your name?
Malakay po.
Yes.
Okay po. So, when I hear organizational behavior po, first thing what comes to my mind first po is the behavior of a person and their organization po wherein um they they encompasses their values or their characteristics with their actions po inside the organization.
Okay. Thank you, Malakay. How about the others? Please unmute yourself and mention your name na din to be recognized. Hello?
Hello po, ma'am.
Yes?
Po,
What's your
maglinaw po, ma'am. Si Antoinette po.
okay?
Antoinette Maglinaw. Um, Based from what I've understand po, while you were explaining our core syllabus po kanina, ma'am, organizational behavior analyzes po how the people or the members of the organization interacts, behaves, as well as yung internal culture na rin po natin, ma'am, sa workplace. Because I feel like most workplace or any organization has its own culture. So that's what organizational behavior is studying po, and we study this to have a better understanding and ano po, a better understanding of individuality po sa organization and para po magkaroon ng harmonious and efficient workplace po. Yun po, and thank you po.
Okay. Well said. Thank you, Antoinette. Any others who would like to?
Ma'am,
Yes.
Bamba po, Kim.
Okay.
Okay, for me po, for the organizational behavior, let's break down po yung word. For me, for the organization, we all know that if we're in an organization, we are interacting with other people. There are groups of people, and behavior, it is connected to our values, to our beliefs, and on how are we going to adjust other with others. Especially, we all know that we have very particular characteristic. We are unique from each other. So basically, organizational behavior is on how are you going to adjust with each other, how are you going to socialize, and um how are you going to give your um opinions and what they call this opinions in the organization with effective communication.
All right. Thank you for that, Kim. Next. Any more?
Miss
Yeah.
Justin po.
Yes. Go ahead, Justin.
For me, organizational behavior, this is where we analyze different factors such as social and environmental factors that affects the personality or how an individual assess the situation within the said organization po.
What's your last name, by the way, Justine?
Marshall po.
Marshall. Okay. Um.
Hello, Miss.
Yes.
Lagtapon po.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me po, organizational behavior is a well-presented behavior that is mostly required po within a business setting that also displays formality. Also, this helps us on how to communicate and then the right to know the right etiquette to express within the organization po.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. Meron pa ba? Any more opinions about org behavior before we start?
Me?
Yes, Crystal?
Yes po. For me naman po, when I hear the word organizational behavior, first thing that comes to my mind is it's a study of human behavior on a work setting. Kasi we know naman po na we are a different kind of person kapag nasa labas and at the same time kapag nasa loob tayo ng corporate world. We act differently because we are communicating with
Sorry
different
ha,
kinds of
Crystal?
people na especially, ay sorry po, clear na po ba?
Mm-hmm.
Ayun,
Yes. Sige, go.
in an organization, we interact with different kinds of people and doon po may hierarchy yun. So, kailangan natin um, i-analyze yung way how the employees, the teams interact, communicate, and collaborate because it will greatly influence the success of the business in the long run. Yun lang po.
Okay. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you po.
Hans?
Ma'am,
Yes, then Z.
so good morning po. For me po, organizational behavior po is um, um, ano po, how a person how a person act and socialize within a group po. And because po we have different perspectives po and we have different way to express our mga ano po natin, it is hard for us to achieve goal kung may iba't iba po tayong mga naiisip, mga ano po ma'am, mga ideya po. Kaya po, it is important na dapat alam po natin kung paano po pakitunguhan yung isa't isa po. Yun
Our
po
goals should
ma'am.
be
Para
aligned.
po, apa, yun po. Thank you po.
Yes. Thank you, Denzi. Meron pa?
Ma'am,
Yes.
kalika po.
Who's this? Sorry.
Kalika po.
Kalika? Okay, go.
For me po, organizational behavior po is how an organization can affect human behavior po. And vice versa po. How human behavior affects an organization po. Yun po. Thank you po.
Thank you. I'm seeing some hands.
Ma'am.
Sophia?
Hello po, yes po. In my opinion po, organizational behavior shows how people interact and perform well in the organization itself. It is the backbone or the support of the management. It affects the efficiency of the staff, the employee. Also, I think po, organizational behavior affects the individual itself, the group, and the organization as a whole po. Yun po. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next.
Hello po.
Yes.
For me po, when I heard organizational behavior, it's all about the impact that individuals or group that have on behavior within the organization and for the purpose of applying such knowledge towards improving organization's effectiveness po.
All right. What's your last name?
Sentino po.
Sentino. All right. Thank you. Okay. So thank you for participating in the discussion. Okay. So natutuwa ako no kasi parang most of you knows what an organizational behavior is all about. But siguro that's just one part of the organizational behavior. Parang there's a deeper context pa about what an organizational behavior is all about. All of the things that you've said to me are all correct. So siguro we just need to dig deeper kasi parang it's not only about interpersonal relationships, it's not only about the organization itself, it's not only about the behavior. There are so many factors that affects an organizational behavior. Kasi when you say organizational behavior, parang this comprises of people, this comprises of the structure of that organization, the technology in that organization, the social system, and the environment or the culture of that organization. So in most of the successful business leaders, no, parang they are the ones who continuously look for ways on how to achieve greater goals for the organization. They look for strategies. They look to striving a better performance for the organization to improve employee productivity and but also increase job satisfaction. Kasi what's the essence of being in an organization if you're not satisfied with your job, with what you're doing in that organization, 'di ba? So every behavior of the people in the organization affects the performance of the entire organization, affects the goals, affects the objectives of that organization if kaya ba siyang i-achieve over time. So parang it's more of the people behavior eh. It's more of the how the people in that organization interacts with one another, how they are as a team, how they take comments from the top management, from their superior, from their colleagues. So this can also be achieved by understanding how they interact with one another. Siguro better way to do this one is to study what's the interrelationship between that individual, what's the relationship between the employees to their colleagues, employees to the top management, employees to their superior. Kasi parang if you have a good relationship with your colleagues, parang it's easier for you to achieve the goals the goals that you're looking for in that organization, um you will parang you will be comfortable working in that organization kasi you know that kasundo mo yung mga workmates mo, parang you get along with your superior kasi it's easier to work based on my experience it's easier to work um if you know that kasundo mo yung superior mo, if you have a good relationship with your colleagues, with the top management, so it's lighter. The feeling is lighter as compared if hindi ka ganon ka-happy with your relationship with them. And also, yes, given the fact that we cannot please everybody, so that's part of the organizational behavior. There are employees who cannot really get along to other employees. So it's part of the organizational behavior. So kasi medyo diverse din If you're with an organization, the culture is diverse. Um, madaming personalities kang ma-encounter. Either you will like that personality, you will hate that personality. So everything is there. So I guess you will realize this later on once you have your own job, once you join a company. Yes. So organizational behavior, it also describes the behavioral dynamics which occurs between groups or individuals within the organization setting. And in understanding these elements, it also helped the business to achieve their long-term goals. Kasi parang if aware sila with this kind of dynamics, parang kasi parang in achieving an organizational goals or objectives or the strategies that is being planned for the whole year, um, it's better if the people or the teams working for that goal or working for that strategy, parang they know very well about teamwork. Kasi kung walang teamwork in an organization, it will be hard for you to achieve your goal. Let's say, sige, na-achieve mo yung goal mo. Pero ang tanong, gusto ka ba ng mga ka-team mo? Or do you have a good relationship with your team? Yes, given that you achieved that goal. But aside from that, parang do you have a good relationship with them? So it's also one factor about organizational behavior. So the organizational behavior, it also analyzes the effect of the social and environmental factors that affect the way employees or teams work. So it also affects how they interact, how they communicate, how they collaborate with one another is also the key to organizational success. Because if you're not 100% committed with your job, if you're not if you don't have a good working relationship, how can you achieve success in the organization that you're working for? Okay. So of course, in an organization, it's not just about the employees. in the organization, it's also about the leaders managing the organization. So, syempre, in every organization, we have managers. We have top management managing an organization. Kasi syempre, they're the ones who give the strategic goals for that organization. They are giving the direction on how to achieve that goal to their employees, their people. So they make decisions, they allocate resources, they direct activities of others to attain the goals. Kasi if you do not have a manager in the organization, parang who will be the one to guide your employees to achieve your KPI, your key performance indicators? So wala. So kaya managers play a very important role in the organization. Of course, it's not only the manager. The employees are also doing the legwork of the entire team or the entire organization. So where managers work? So syempre, they work for an organization. So the organization is a consciously coordinated social unit composed of two or more people that functions on a relatively continuous basis to achieve a common goal or set of goals. So I think this is a very basic naman, no? So for every organization, of course, there's a manager. So some of the management functions, syempre, let's put it this way siguro. When you're in an organization, there's this table of organization or organizational structure. Are you familiar with on how the organization is structured for most of the companies or businesses? Do you have an idea? Do you have an idea kung sino yung pinaka nagma-manage sa isang unit, or what are the positions under that unit? What's the span of control in an organization? Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Hello po, miss. Meron naman po.
Who's this?
Palakay po.
Yes, can you explain what's
Ah,
your
okay pa. So, yung dito po sa mga organizational, different parts of organization nga po, yung planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. We have
Mhm.
different type of leaders or officers or hierarchy in
Mhm.
this particular area, wherein parang yung um, parang yung sa business po, we have the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, and other um, officers or people
Mhm.
managing the business itself po.
Yes. Correct. Thank you for that,
Thank you
Malakay.
po. Malakay po.
Ito ako sa pag-pronounce ng name mo.
Apo.
Malakay. Okay,
Apo.
thank you,
Thank you po.
Malakay. Um, Tama yung sinabi ni Malakay. Kasi in an organization setup, we have this top management group who's working with this four factors, with the planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So that top management group, so basically sila yung nag-hold ng higher positions sa organization. Let's say, pwede kasing sila yung board of directors, pwedeng siya si president, pwedeng siya si vice president, pwedeng siya si controller. So basically sila yung nagma-manage nitong four factors na to. Kasi without them, parang can you imagine kung wala tayong top management group, wala tayong president or CEO, what will happen to the organization? So parang if all of us, let's say ako employee, kayo employee din. If all of us are just employees in that organization, parang how can you attain your goal? How can you provide a strategic direction or strategic goal for that company? So if we have them, of course, planning is much easier because they will be the one to define what's the goal of the organization, what is the strategy, what are the development plans for that organization, let's say for the next 1 year, for the next 2 years, for the next 5 years. So it's very important. So they're also organizing what are the tasks to be done, what is to do, who is to do them, how the tasks are being grouped, who reports to whom, where decisions are to be made, and they will also be the one to lead the employees, what to do, what to expect, um, what they will do for the operations, day-to-day operations, um, what are the communications channel that shall be used in the organization, how will you resolve the conflict. And they will also be the one to control, to monitor the activities, to ensure that everything is on track. They will ensure that everything is accomplished according to plan. So siguro with this one, with this four factors, um, ang pinakamalaking involvement with this one, with these four factors, ang pinaka-backbone or support group ng organization is the human resources. So why human resources? Because human resources, they basically handle the people. They manage the flow of people in the organization. So parang si top management partners with human resources, with the planning, with the organizing of people, leading the people, how to control the people. So dapat HR and top management must partner in these four factors kasi the top management can't do this alone with their employees. Parang they also need guidance from human resources to better achieve the objectives and goals of an organization. So of course there are also several roles in the organization who who also involve with several responsibilities. No, so we have the figurehead. So this is required to perform a number of routine duties of a legal or social nature. And we also have a leader responsible for the motivation and the direction of employees. So every office naman yan, every department has its own leader. And we also have a liaison, maintains a network of outside contracts who provide favors and information to the group. Kasi for example, in an office setup, let's say accounting office. So syempre sa accounting office, meron diyang manager. So siya yung parang pinaka-leader of that office. And meron din siyang mga employees or meron siyang mga supervisors. Let's say the supervisors are the figureheads. So basically, they're the ones who guide. They're the ones who lead their subordinates in what to do for the daily operations. Then the liaison naman, parang pwedeng sila din kasi yung employees eh. Parang sila yung staff, sila yung gumagawa ng day-to-day activities, they communicate to outside network, either internal or external stakeholders. So that's the idea of this one. Guys, please let me know if you do not understand or if you have any questions. Please feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself. So far, is everything clear naman ba?
Yes po, miss.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. About the flow of information naman siguro in the organization. So in every organization, syempre there's a communication. So the question is, how will you manage the flow of that information? So siguro by using first the proper communication channel. We also have to consider the person that we are talking to. So let's say top management is talking, or let's say the president or is talking to the vice president. Kasi parang president, vice president, they speak the common language because they're at the top level position. But let's say, for example, a manager speaks to his or her employee, parang dapat the managers should communicate communicate accordingly based on the level of that employee. Kasi parang as for me, if you're a manager, you should understand the level of understanding of your employee. Kasi baka mamaya nakikipag-communicate ka sa kanya, parang you're using parang too deep words. So, yung employee parang cannot understand what you're talking about, 'di ba? So parang dapat you should communicate based on the level of understanding of the person that you're talking to. Siguro class, I'll stop at slide 7 after I discuss this one kasi 10 minutes na lang before 9 a.m. hanggang 9 lang yung synchronous class natin. For the rest of the session, siguro I'll just post in the Teams chat box your activities for the next 2 hours. Okay, for the decisional naman, we have an entrepreneur, we have the discipline handler, we have the resource allocator, and we have the negotiator. So for the entrepreneur, it searches an organization and its environment for opportunities and initiates project to bring about the change. So in every organization, parang there's this, pwede kasing may department who will be handling let's say, the business development side of the organization, no? So parang he or she's being considered as an entrepreneur because the nature of the job itself, dapat it should take a look for opportunities, for possible projects that can bring change to the organization. It's more of like a strategic side. Parang that department should support the opportunities for that specific organization. Then we also have the discipline handler responsible for corrective action in times of disturbance. Pwede kasing itong discipline handler can be an HR. Kasi in HR kasi, if you have like a labor case or if you receive a written warning, si HR ang nagpa-process nun, siya responsible in giving the corrective action that should be done. Then we also have resource allocator. It makes decisions or approves organizational decisions. So for the resource allocators, more of a top management decision kasi to eh. The resource allocator might be a vice president, might be the president itself, or pwedeng pwedeng siya din one of the board members, let's say. And lastly is the negotiator. The negotiator is responsible for representing the organization at major negotiation. Depending on what kind of negotiations is being done eh. Kasi parang in every office naman, parang hindi mo maiwasan yung negotiation, di ba? Parang pwedeng, let's say si HR, parang let's say HR will purchase this system in an organization. So, since si HR, mas alam niya what system is being used or what system will be good to use in an organization, HR will be the one to negotiate it. Okay. So, for this synchronous session, we will be stopping at slide 7. So siguro next time, for our next meeting next Saturday, I'll continue the discussion for module 1 for organizational behavior, and then I'll be posting an update na lang on the MS Teams chat box for the announcement Hindi pala naka-open yung ano ko, for the announcement of your activity for the next 2 hours. With that, do you have any questions or clarifications before ending this synchronous session?
Hello po, Miss.
Yes?
Malakay po.
Yes.
So,
Go
I just
ahead.
want to ask po if you will be posting po ba your presentation po kanina so that mabalikan po namin yung mga hindi po namin naintindihan or mga nalilito po kami ng konti.
Yeah, the presentation is already uploaded in your
Okay.
class materials.
Okay
But
po.
do you have any clarifications ba? Is there anything else that you don't understand in the session? Please feel free to tell me, ah.
Okay po, Miss. As of now po, Miss, I understand everything as as good as possible naman po. I'll be chatting you on the MS Teams na lang po, Miss, if I have any further clarification or questions or concerns po.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Okay po, Miss. Thank
Um,
you po.
how about the others?
No questions as of now naman po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay. Class for next week, I'll be giving you a graded recitation ulit for the next meeting. So yung mga hindi nakapag-recite this morning has a chance to recite for the next session. Okay, anything else? Okay, so if wala ng question, thank you for attending our first synchronous session. It was nice meeting you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
today po,
po.
Miss. Have a great day ahead. Thank
Thank you
you.
Thank you
po.
Thank you
so
po.
much,
Thank you
Miss. Have a
po.
great day ahead po.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you po, miss. Bye.
Thank you, Miss. Bye-bye po.